Yep.
There we go. Welcome to, or good afternoon. Welcome to PJ and the Beard. This is our 19 Conversations series. This is episode number 53. Brody Hutchins, what's up? Pete Hickson, good morning. So tomorrow we got some guys coming on talk about jamming, so to speak. So that should be fun. Rocky Rothrock, who's not been on the channel before, and then Brian Landreth is going to join us too. So it'll be the first time we have four squares up here. Which should be interesting.
Right. We just may be observers.
Mm-hmm. Got Paul Ewing checking in. What's up, man? And that's the show. So have a great day.
That's right. That's right.
Dave Timlin's back. What's up, Dave? We still waiting for a few more pedal boards. We have packed pedal board to show. If he shows up, maybe we'll pull that up. Paul, you should.
Right.
I think Paul should send us a picture of his monster board.
You should.
Not to call him out, but like, come on, man. We want to see this 70 pedal monster that you have. If you can do that, that'd be awesome.
Right.
We got this in the mail today.
Quickly. We got that in the mail today.
Yeah, came quick. Can we? Oh, look, you pull a little tab that doesn't actually pull and breaks. I don't know, Pat. Oh, I was able to get it. Oh, you know what? I'm not allowed to pull that out of the bag.
So you're doing that open until Christmas?
Do not open until June 1st.
All right. Can we even tease where it came from?
Well, it's somebody that we've talked to recently. Was that enough of a tease?
Sure.
Somebody we talked to recently that was giving some hints about something they were doing, and we just can't. We can't pull it out. We can't pull it out until June. I think June 1st. I am. Timlin said, "You're such a tease." It was totally a mistake. We didn't mean to tease that. We're not trying to build suspense in any way, shape, or form.
I feel like this is only the second time we've gotten something that we couldn't show yet. We're finally getting on the right side of the curve.
Yeah, because the Neo pedals was the first.
Right.
We had those before we were allowed to officially say anything about them.
We were trying to get Josh Scott to launch his fuzz pedals on our show because when we interviewed him way back, he's like, "I'm working on something and it's actually a line of pedals." And we're like, "Well, we got the perfect place for you." But he did it on his own channel. What was he thinking?
And they came out a couple months after what he kind of indicated that he thought they were going to come out, didn't they?
Right. Yep. And he didn't tell us what it was. He said there was going to be a line of pedals, and so it's his four fuzz pedals.
Paul said it's in pieces. He's building. He'll send his pedals half on the board and half on the floor. Whatever. It all works for us, man. It all works for us. The Old Blood Noise Haunt Fuzz is fantastic. You know, we were talking about that last night after we looked at your board, Dave's board yesterday, that we wanted to, that Old Blood Noise Endeavors is one company that I don't know that either one of us have ever tried anything by, but I've looked at their stuff and I know it looks amazing. And so I think we might have to figure out a way to get something from them to check out. And we've interviewed everybody else in that area, right? So,
right. Well, we have one in the pipeline. We're trying to get all of the pedal builders from Oklahoma at some point.
So, we ready for clip?
Let's do it.
All right, here's the clip. A friend of mine kind of turned me on to this guy. He's actually a jazz guy. And a friend turned me on to him. I've been to see him in concert. He ends up playing a lot, sitting in a lot with a band that this other friend and I really like. Even recorded some tracks for one of their albums with him. They have a song named after him. So I actually first ran into this little video today of him as I was just scrolling through. Just him and his electric sitting in a room with a loop pedal, playing a Dead song, surprisingly. And it was real. I almost showed that clip because it was real. I don't think I don't think there was anything about the playing that was like over the top, like, oh my gosh. But it was just cool to see him like sitting in his room with a loop pedal playing this tune. And it kind of felt like, just an everyday guy. You know what I mean? Like just an everyday kind of guy. So I almost showed that. And then this video popped up right underneath of that. And I'm not even sure I picked the section of playing that's the most like over the top or out of this world, but the whole track, its concert footage is great. So let me pull that up. Jack the Rabbit just popped in. Jack, how you doing, man? While I pull that up. Where is he? Right here. Here we go. Here's the clip. Once again, I always have trouble stopping them once they start getting into it because it just keeps building, right?
Yeah, more ridiculous from there, right?
A couple things that popped to mind. I believe, and nobody wants to don't quote me on this, but I believe that kind of Leslie-ish tone that he gets at times is really a Boss CE2.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I believe. Should have probably looked this up before the show, but I'm pretty sure Schofield uses a Boss CE2 with like the speed crank and the intensity crank to get kind of a Leslie sound. And when we talked to Josh Scott back when we were putting that Leslie series together, he kind of indicated that it really is. A lot of those players use pedals to do that. Look there, there's my wife. Ready to say hi to my wife. She's laying in a hospital bed right now, recovering from her surgery the other day. They just wanted to keep her an extra day, and hopefully we'll be coming home tomorrow. So
she's a trooper.
So and then
that gives you time to get the gold flying V into the house.
Right. Now's the time. Now's the flying V time.
Get your minions to go get it, make it happen. It's gold with like a teal binding, right?
What? She keeps telling me there's a guitar that I brought home from school that I kept at school, always keep at school. It's just been sitting on like the piano bench up there, and she's like, "Why don't you find a spot in that front room to hang one?" Because she hates that one that sits on the floor. Get one of them out and hang one in there. And I think while she's gone, I'm surprised her by putting a guitar hanger up in that kind of parlor room, and I'm going to hang the gold or the teal Strat up there.
Yeah, it's a piece of art. It's a piece of art.
It would really fit in with the decor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love fusion players like John Schofield. They're fun.
So Timlin asked,
Yeah, right.
no, in the comments she's saying no. Pat, I don't know that Pat can see the comments all the time today. So
I'm flipping back and forth. Yeah.
Timlin asked if he's using just finger plucking or using a pick, and if you watch him, he is using a pick from time to time, and then I think he kind of palms the pick and he uses his fingers a lot. And it's really interesting because I've been paying attention to like a lot of the guys that we've been showing use their fingers more than they use a pick. Even guys like Derek Trucks, who doesn't use a pick at all. We were kind of on a Danny Gatton.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to show, the beginning of that instructional video. Last night I thought we'll just show that tomorrow because that was crazy.
We'll just let it play the whole hour.
Right, and then I started watching some of that. I might have to start watching some of because he gets into his picking technique and the finger rolling and stuff, and it is crazy.
Yeah, Danny Gatton was something.
Almost worth a double clip of the day, but we'll save it.
But like you said, we got our hands full tomorrow with 2 guests, so we'll have to maybe have a short clip tomorrow.
I wonder if there's an old Blues Jam clip out there that we can use from the Blues Society of Central Pennsylvania. I bet there is. But there's somewhere some clip that somebody's posted
of a young Beard.
I don't know, because when I was doing the jam most of the time, I don't even think that iPhones were really around, and
right, couldn't get really good quality footage on a flip phone.
Yeah, nothing was documented pre-iPhone.
It's the dark years. I don't know if you commented, but Jack the Rabbit saying he's not really a pick fan. I've just never played that much. I occasionally play without a pick, just to try to see what the tonal difference and stuff is. It's mostly when I'm just kind of messing around, maybe playing some lead lines, by myself.
I do it a lot, like without a pick, especially like if I'm playing the acoustic upstairs, because there's normally not one there, or the acoustic at school. So I play a lot without a pick on an acoustic.
Mm-hmm.
I do it a good bit on electric, too. Even when we play live, like I'll palm mute the pick or put the pick away for. But what I would really like to get is the hybrid picking thing. I'd really like to get a little more of depth at that, like Telecaster hybrid picking thing that you can get going on. I think I hybrid pick a lot, but it's a very layman's, like it's not a very.
Yeah, it's not like Josh Smith,
right?
Those guys are ridiculous.
Not that kind of thing. Because I like this the snap of the strings when you're soloing. There's a different tone when you pop the string, and I like that. So I do it a good bit, but it's not that fast like hybrid picking those guys do.
Right.
So the pick is neither here nor there. I do find that. I mean, I can get by. I can get by without it, but when things get serious, you know what I mean. When things get serious, I want to pick. I did think about a pedal. So Pat's traveling today. If you haven't noticed the change in background,
yeah, I'm out of town. It kind of looks like I'm in a hotel, but I'm not in a hotel. It's a friend's house, and I was trying to find somewhere. It's a farm, more or less, a gentleman's farm, if you will. And there's these wonderful picture windows, and I was trying to find a spot, and I ended up in the most awkward spot of all, like in the upper loft of a staircase somewhere. We've got my tripod like spidered onto the to the banister. But yeah, so my wife came into town and kind of sneaking away for an overnight thing, and here I am. Show must go on. Jason's wife's in the hospital. I'm in an undisclosed location. We are committed. Or should be committed, one of the two.
Right. Pedal of the day. So I'm just pulling from the stack of pedals I brought over to list 4 days ago. Sure. I haven't listed yet.
It's not a shameless sales pitch, but it's a shameless sales pitch.
Well, I mean, it's not a shameless sales pitch. It's just that these are the ones that are sitting by the desk and might as well do them while we have them. Although the Korg the Korg sold. The old like 1980s, 90s looking Korg Leslie pedal sold. So this one is from Tech 21. And what a nice, container. And
yeah, that's another one that has kind of a cool story to it.
Right, and that's one of the reasons I thought it might be kind of cool to do. So we got this in. I'll make it big if you like to see the aesthetics of the pedal. So this is the Roto Choir by Tech 21. It has a level, a high, and a low, a drive, a position, and that would be like your mic position, how close your mic is or far away your mic would be. Virtual mic is from the speaker cabinet. And then a top speed, your top speed. I think slow might always be the same. There's a speaker sim button here, and there is a biamped button here. So if you leave that button out, I think you're running more of like a Leslie 16, where it's just like the lower rotor spinning. There's no high and low rotor. If you put the biamped in, then you're running a high and low speaker, if I remember correctly. I think that we thought this was one of the few pedals where the drive on it was really, really usable, that we liked the drive on it. So this is actually, there's an episode, because it's a Leslie pedal, and we did 25 of them or whatever. So there's definitely an episode out there of us going over this pedal. But this, this was another contender for ones that maybe shouldn't leave. It was a really nice pedal. And then Pat said there was an interesting story about it, because at the beginning of all of the episodes, if a pedal was stereo, we recorded in stereo, and you might look at that and go, not so much, but it is. It's a TRS cable. So if you run a TRS cable, so we have a TRS cable that splits out into two cables, so you're able to take that out of the 2 amps and make it stereo. So we did record that in stereo, and when we did, we were messing with the level button, and it was, once you got past about, it was at 11 o'clock, it would cut in and out.
Right.
And so I sent Tech 21 an email and asked about it, and they said, well, it sounds like there's a bad pot in it. So they actually let us send it back to them. I paid for shipping there and back, but they fixed it for free. And so shout out to Tech 21, because that's good customer service on a pedal that they don't even make anymore.
And sent it back in a new tin.
Right, and sent it back in a new tin, because I don't think I sent the tin back when I sent it back to them. So
right.
We have, and it's weird, because both tins are labeled Roto with a serial number, but only one of the serial numbers is right. One of them's like a digit off. So I'm not sure if they wrote it down wrong when they sent it back, or if the original 10 had it written down wrong.
We have the tin.
Right. We're going to keep a 10, and we're going to list this one on Reverb and send that one out. Great Leslie pedal. Definitely a good one.
Yeah, just Tech 21 makes rock solid stuff. Known a lot for they were almost some of the original amp simulators, right? I mean, those DIs with the built-in cabinet sims.
Yes, they do. We talk about compression a couple times and how we don't like it. The first compression pedal I ever had was the Tech 21 Comp Torsion. It had distortion and compression built into it, and I made that pedal sound absolutely terrible. I mean,
is that when you knew you wanted to go on YouTube and demo pedals?
That's when I wanted Buddy Guy's sustain that he got from cranking a tube amp, but wanted that like low volume levels, and didn't realize that hot tubes were more important than stuff in front of the amp.
Right.
But it was a good learning experience, because I got that and I'm like, wow, gee, I got all the sustain now, but it sounds like a bees or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when that idea of like, well, what if I crank the amp way up and attenuate with the pedal a little bit, pull the pedal back a little bit, so I have that. And that's where I started running amps hotter and then leaving the overdrive pedal on all the time and pulling that back. So in the chat, Dave said about checking out Tiny Moving Parts if we want to get some good pick and finger math rock jam.
Nice.
Jack said that container would be a nice place to store Proto Screwn in that Gentleman Farm.
Right.
And Jack's wearing his Leslie Sound hoodie right now. It's awesome. Yeah, and didn't somebody ask about t-shirts the other day? I meant to mention that.
Yeah, somebody did. I can't remember who it was.
And then
I feel like it was one of the E-Line boys or somebody. I forget.
I forgot that we have like a discount code that we could give on that.
Yeah.
And so I would need to look.
It's the name of your dog.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the one that I think one other time we gave out on the stream. That's the 25 off, right?
I think it's 25% off.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember I always have to look up
to find the link. I'm the same way. I go back through text between you and me and you and Brody and I to find it. It comes in a really cool yellow package. You can't miss it once it comes.
Well, and it's like, what email? Oof. What email is my sister-in-law sending that to? And so I don't even know what email I'm supposed to be looking in. Find it. Oh my gosh. I found it the other day when we were doing this. And I don't know. That's terrible.
Well, we always give everybody a hard time that comes on and says they're the worst self-promotion and marketers in the world, and then we just prove that.
Try to up.
That's right. We can't even find a link to our own merch.
Oh, review store. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that it is Zelda. I'm pretty sure you're right about that.
Yeah. It definitely is. Yep. The unofficial show mascot.
And and that was the other thing that I wanted to do today was to send them that logo for this, the Hour of Distraction logo.
Yeah.
I wanted to send that to them so they can make a shirt out of that too, and I just haven't got around.
Which would be appropriate because this is the longest running series of anything we've done. It eclipsed the Leslie pedals about 20 episodes ago.
Yeah. So that's what it is. It's all that. So how do you get? Not that anybody cares. So I'm probably wasting my time doing this for you, but in the chat, I will put since Jack mentioned it. There's the link to the store, and that's not the big chain. That's not a big chain store. It's a franchise, but it's a franchise out in Ann Arbor that my brother and sister owns, and we like to when we started, like, let's get some t-shirts, we thought it'd be nice to support what they're doing.
Right.
Of course, and I'm going to say it, right here, like, if you do order, you can use the code Zelda. That's 25% off, but give a little bit of grace because, they're going through weird times out there too. And one of the reasons we're giving the discount because the order would help them more than would help us probably. So
yeah. And it doesn't take that long. I just ordered some stuff that came pretty quickly. So, like I said, it comes with this cool yellow package. When you walk up to your house, there's a yellow package on the porch. You know exactly what it is.
Dan Mowry just popped in. Asked if the beard has grown since last time. I'm sure.
It is. It's getting dangerously close to covering up the logos. But
right. I guess it's time to trim. I don't know. The hair is definitely getting long and unruly. Yes. Is it Zelda with the capital Z or lowercase z? Do you remember?
I feel like it's uppercase. It's uppercase. I'm pretty sure. Proper. Okay. Yeah.
If it doesn't work, try changing the capitalization on that.
And if it doesn't work, just pay full price. That should work though.
Yeah, that would. Brody said,
an
endorsement. The tees and hoodie. They're nice shirts.
Yeah, and with the discount code, I mean, it's a pretty decent price for a hoodie, and they're comfy.
I like them.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go.
Just so you know, we buy our own merch, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that's how much we're into. This shirt that I'm wearing, I paid for it.
Might be my brother and sister-in-law. It's really my sister-in-law's store, but she there is no family discount at this point.
That's right.
It is one comfy hoodie from Jack.
Right.
All right. So I don't know how we got running down that, but I do want to do.
I think last time we did it. Is that when Jack the Rabbit bought his, and I think Brody might have bought something. So it's cool. But yeah, it really is about helping out. I said not mom and pop, bro and sister shop there.
So,
and you never know. You could be wearing this in a store in Franklin, Tennessee, and Mark Agnesi might comment on it. Just saying, it could happen.
Right? Not only could it happen,
it did.
It did happen.
That's right. Not to us, happened to Brody. But,
yeah.
Our shirt's been on the Vegas Strip with Brody out for a business trip, and so buy some merch and take pictures of places, appropriate places.
Or just send them to her.
Yeah,
those appropriate places. The other ones, send it.
Don't post it on our wall. Put it in the DM on Instagram or something.
Oh my! So we need a topic here. Could this be the first time a show about nothing runs into nothing to talk about?
Well, we did get a pedal board, right? Is that true? Do we have one?
Yeah, we got Hack. Hack sent us a pedal board, and I'm just kind of waiting.
Somebody else. Wasn't there somebody else too, or no? I thought there were two. Am I making that up? Remember the one I screenshotted? That's the thing too with Jason and I sharing accounts. I sometimes if I go read a message, I try to screenshot it and send it to him so he knows there was a message there because it's not showing as unread anymore. Didn't I send you the one? I don't remember the name, but sound familiar?
No, I don't think. I don't think so. I think the only pedal board that we have right now that we haven't talked about is Hack's.
Okay.
And since Hack is not.
Right.
Jack Rabbit, you got a pedal board picture you want to send over?
Right.
I know Jack does more acoustic kind of stuff, but I think he jams some electric from time to time too.
Well, I guess one of the questions would be like, what have you purchased during this quarantine time? Because everybody gets a little case of gas and maybe flips onto Reverb or Sweetwater or Craigslist. Is what do you all purchase during this time?
Or is there anything catching your eye?
Right. I don't know, man. I finally got around to watching the JHS show about his fuzz pedals, and they are, I think, still 15% off at Sweetwater and some other places right now. I mean, I don't think we would be buying all four, but I'm like, is there one of those that tickles my fancy?
Was there one that jumped out at you?
It's kind of funny because when he talked about the one that's on your shirt, the fuzz face, he played that at a much lower gain. He was playing like Wind Cries Mary, I think, with that or something. I've always been enamored by the fuzz face, and a lot of people I know and like play them. So
I forget which one. There's one that does the octave thing, or it says he didn't really talk about it doing the octave thing, but when you read the description of it, it does the octave thing, and that's one that that's probably the one that I would be leaning towards. But I will say that these have caught my eyes in the last couple of days. I'm not, just because my wife might still be watching. Not saying that I'm interested in maybe purchasing one, but they have caught my eye. The new PRS Parlor Guitars. Have you checked those out yet, Pat?
I saw that video you sent me with, what's his name? Davey Knowles. It sounded great.
Yeah. And so I have a Breedlove Parlor guitar that's very similar in looks. Although it has the slotted headstock at the top, which I really like the look of. I actually like the look of the slotted headstock better than what PRS did with their typical headstock. But it doesn't stay in tune real well.
The Breedlove.
Right.
You think it's old strings, or is it really an issue?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. And so you just muted your camera and your mic. Just FYI.
I did on purpose. Hold on.
Okay. So I've been looking at those. Dan says, buy it. Why don't you buy it and send it to me, Dan? Dave said, talk about the Tonewood amp. Dave, do you have one of those? Because the Tonewood amp...
The Tonewoods are great, man. I saw them at NAMM. And what was the name of the guy playing it? He does their ads right now. Acoustic player.
Kind of long hair. Long hair.
Yeah. He was
guy.
Yeah, he was at the Tonewood booth when I was at NAMM. Unbelievable. This is a disaster. Sorry, kids.
You gotta spend this money. Oh, sorry, Pete. Sorry that your car crapped out on you.
Making enough noise.
Yeah. So yeah, the Tonewoods, I've always really wanted to try one because I think it would make your just that like sitting with your acoustic and playing just amazing. I just don't know. I haven't had an opportunity yet to ever hear one in a room. When you hear it on a recording or on like a YouTube video, it sounds really, really good. But it doesn't. I just haven't had the opportunity. How much are they?
I'm not sure.
Here you go. $250. Maybe we should reach out to them. I'm sure they'd send 4 of them over. Dan said he's been buying mics lately.
Mics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do the quarantine recording or?
Well, Dan went to school for sound. He went to
Okay.
for sound. So I mean, he. Jack said, I just ordered a Breed Love Legacy concert with a solid sinker redwood top and solid rosewood back inside. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that Breed Love I have is just one of the little parlor ones. It's a really nice guitar. It sounds great. I have trouble keeping it in tune. It might be because I don't know how to wind strings on a slotted headstock too.
Right.
Nothing a good ham and sandwich sale couldn't fund.
That's right. You sell the right rotary pedal. It's a wash when you wear the Tonewood. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I can't remember his name. It kind of in the vein of Michael Hedges, who's no longer with us anymore. But what is that guy's name? He was unbelievable. It was NAMM like 2 years ago, Summer NAMM, and he was the one doing the demo. So it was like me and 30 other people kind of hunkered around the booth, and it was just like, whoa.
And it sounds great.
Yeah, it really projected, even in the cacophony of noise that is NAMM. It projected nicely. And I think it has a little reverb and delay. I think it's got a couple onboard effects, right?
Oh, it's reverb, it has delay, it has chorus, it even has like an envelope filter, and
there you go.
It has all kinds of stuff on it.
It quacks. That's all you need, right?
Right. Well, you have an envelope filter, but I mean, for an acoustic guitar, that's kind of weird, maybe. But
well, you could do some uncharted territory there. Yeah, sorry for the unprofessional thing. I set up in the most awkward place, and then in the open part of this house, and all the voices were carrying. So now I'm more in a more secluded space, which is actually a music room with a piano in it and a little Fender Passport. And right now, my tripod is now strapped to a mic stand. And the SM58 is the counterbalance on the stand.
So Jack said in the chat that his Yamaha LSTA has a Tonewood amp built in. They did it first. Tonewood guides ripped off Yamaha with that technology. Never knew that either. Interesting.
Didn't know that either. I could sing some karaoke for you if you'd like. Yeah, I really wanted to try one of those. Of course, NAMM is not the place to necessarily try one of those.
So Jack says he doesn't like the way the Tonewood amp attaches. That's what turned him off why he went Yamaha. But is the Yamaha really doing the same thing the Tonewood amp is doing then? Because doesn't the Tonewood amp being attached to the back, it's projecting somehow like projecting sound through using the backboard to like project sound through the guitar. Like I guess I just don't even understand what it's doing, like how it works. But because I wouldn't think it could just be built into like where your typical controls for acoustic are, but maybe that Yamaha looks a little different. What is it? Yamaha. Ooh, Yamaha LSTA. I'm just wondering what that looks like. Like where did
that is the one? That is the one thing I always wondered about the Tonewood, like because a lot of people put them on. Some they put on the back of a couple of high-end guitars, and I would assume whatever adhesive goes on there, the residue would be able to be taken off, but I don't know.
So you put a clamp for the Tonewood. You put a clamp on the inside.
Okay.
So there's like an X-brace clamp with 4 little circles that you put adhesive pads on, and then that slides up on the inside. And where those 4 little like tubes attach on the inside, those are magnets. So when you take the Tonewood amp, it will stick to it. Gotcha. And so you can get multiple braces like that. And then, I answered Jack's question before he had a chance probably. But yeah, there is a little actuator installed on the inner surface of the guitar that does, I guess, the same thing that the I did not know that existed. That's really cool. Looks like the battery box is right there. So that hides that whole thing from you.
Right.
And then what we were talking about, can you see the screen, Pat?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like this, that little.
I see.
So you peel those little tabs off the tip. That's what sticks to the guitar. And then the amp itself, adheres magnetically to the back. Takes AA batteries too. Yeah, AA batteries are nicer than 9 volts. I don't know. We just seem to have AA batteries around, never have 9 volts around.
Although you can't put a AA battery on your tongue to see if it works.
Dave says use vibrations to signal, and that's what I'm thinking. Somehow it's vibrating the backboard of the. But how you turn that into delay and reverb and chorus, and I'm not sure. It's beyond me. It's beyond me.
Right.
Well, it's beyond my current level of knowledge. Let's put it that way. Probably not beyond our capabilities to understand, maybe, but definitely beyond my current level of knowledge. Yeah. Batteries are the worst. Dan, got to run to the liquor store for the weekend. Not surprised, Dan. Not surprised.
Doesn't that open tomorrow? Kind of, sort of? I don't know.
Well, what's tonight? Tonight's Thursday?
Yeah, it's tomorrow, right?
So that's interesting. Tonight, being Thursday, cpblues.org.
Right.
Take a stab. Pop that back into the chat real quick. So the Blues Society of Central Pennsylvania does their weekly jam. And they have been trying to do that jam online. So they've been doing like a virtual Facebook jam every Thursday night since they can't go to where they normally do. And you can come in here, watch live. And then they have like a post-jam happy hour where they let people into the Zoom meeting. So I think during the jam, they only let the performers in the Zoom meeting. And then after the jam, they bring in, let anybody get in that wants to talk. Tonight they have John and Jorlene Kelly, Dovetail. I'm not familiar with them. Nate Myers is Nate Myers in the Aces. He's a harmonica player that has been playing the Harrisburg area for probably 20 years. Great harmonica player, great blues guy. I'm not familiar with Hank. Ken Swartz at 8 o'clock. Ken lives in New Orleans. and he was from this area, and he used to play at the Blues Jam, moved to New Orleans. He's made his living as a musician in New Orleans. He plays a very cool style of old blues, kind of like a finger picking old blues style. He sometimes uses acoustics, but he also plays electric. But it's a really interesting style. He's a really interesting guy. When my wife and I went to New Orleans a couple of years ago, we actually looked up where he was playing, looked up his schedule, and went out and surprised him. Just went out and sat down and got to hang out with him for a little bit. So he's a great guy. I've actually talked to Pat once or twice about maybe having him as one of the guests on the show.
Right.
At some point. So, if you have nothing else to do, and I know they're looking for players too, people that would like to do that, and they're happy to bring people in that don't typically come to the jam. So if you have nothing else to do, maybe check out bscpblues.com. And then former president of the Blues Society, I don't think he is right now, but one of their hosts is going to be with us tomorrow in this thing. So it might give you kind of an idea of what's going on with that. He'll probably be one of the guys hosting it tonight too. So if you see a guy named Rocky hosting it, that he'll be on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, and I've seen Nate Myers a couple times. That dude can play harmonica, and depending on how they can do the band, in some type of live format, he's got a great background band. And Pete, who plays bass for them, used to teach guitar at Triple R when I did. It's a really great band.
My guess is it'll probably be Nate by himself, and he does play a little acoustic guitar and stuff too. So I don't know what he'll do, but my guess would be him by himself, but who knows?
Right.
Dave said he likes using blues jam tracks to practice soloing and learning new things to try. Yeah. This is sometimes I think I'm like pretty technologically aware and not an old guy. And then all of a sudden I discovered there's like a backing track for anything you want.
Right.
Did you know that? I mean, did you know first of all, you could just type, blues backing track in A, and there'll be 100 of them, or whatever, or A major guitar backing track, and you'll get a whole bunch of options of like backing tracks you can play in the A major scale. Many of the people that put them out will even put up pictures of the scale too, that they're that goes around. You want like D Mixolydian backing track, you can find that and jam over top of it. And then if you want a specific style of music, like worship tune backing track, you can find that. I'm like, where did all these come from? This is amazing. I can't. So apparently I'm really late to the party on that, because apparently there's a whole bunch of them out there.
You and me both.
Speaking, do you know Gwen Ashton? No, I do not.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at.
They said it's easy now to be decent at an instrument.
There's a lot of tools, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was like, well, if I want to practice playing in an A blues, I have to get out my diddle looper and record it in A. But now I'm sitting up in my chair with my acoustic, and I'm pulling up these backing tracks and just throwing it on the piano bench in front of me and jamming along with it. Like, oh, well, this is cool. Oh, I like it. That's my part of my social distancing guitar exploration routine.
Well, you said you were doing it with that acoustic, right? So are you just putting AirPods in and just balancing the sound enough that you could...
That, or just cranking the phone up and just not...
Yeah.
The sound through the phone isn't great. I tried doing it with AirPods in, but it's can't hear the guitar as well, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it down here on the computer a couple times, where I've pulled them up on the computer and had the guitar plugged in. Just turned down kind of low. Right. It's not a tone thing for me. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to get the best guitar tone.
Right.
I'm not putting a pedal board together to jam along with the A Mixolydian jam track, but it's more of a just kind of woodshedding thing. So, something to do.
Yeah, I should probably do that.
Check it out. I mean, you'd be surprised what's out there. It's really amazing. We need a controversial topic to get us through the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, we have been mildly edgy this week for some reason. Not quite the Pollyanna show. Talking about pedals we didn't like.
Dave said yesterday with his pedal board that he plays that, on Sundays with that. I don't know if he's ever checked out the, if you go onto Facebook, Gear Talk P&W. So there's a couple Gear Talks on. There's Gear Talk pedals, Gear Talk whatever, but there's a Gear Talk P&W. That's a great place to go get some edgy or go get some controversial guitar fodder from.
Well, and there's like 37 or like 30,000 members of that group. So I could play the mini djembe for us for the rest of the show. I moved to New Orleans, by the way, when we started talking about New Orleans. I'm sitting, I had to move, right, because I didn't set myself up very well. And then I'm sitting over there, and I'm like, this mural is on the wall across the room from me. What is wrong with me? Why am I not sitting in front of this mural the whole time?
It's like you're getting a tour of Pat's friend's house through the
Play the pan flute. How do you guys feel about Zamfir, the master of the pan flute? I won't put my lips on these because these could be poison darts for all I know.
Dave, Dave said he's gonna have to check out that Facebook group. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I haven't seen you in a long time, but I'm hoping that doesn't
cause you to question your religion.
Cause you to start wearing skinny jeans, boots, and
right. Pegging your pants and what? Medium flannels.
He's probably like, "What is he talking about? Skinny jeans?"
I think right now he's looking down, going, "Are these skinny jeans I'm wearing?"
You're not a true P&W player if you're not wearing skinny jeans and boots. That's all I'm gonna say.
I just joke that I make all my jeans look like skinny jeans. That's just the way it goes.
Stevie Whitney just popping in. Hey guys. Hey guy. How's it going?
I still owe you a phone call, Steven, by the way.
Brody says, don't forget the V-neck black tee. All I can tell is
it was so funny. It was so funny. There's this big conference in Atlanta called Catalyst, and it's for like pastors and worship leaders. And it was at the Gwinnett Center in Atlanta. So like 15,000 people. Unbelievable band and music. But as you walked through the hall, everybody you saw was wearing, the tight skinny jeans. And this was back in the whole stitched shirt kind of thing. You had the cross with the falcon behind it or whatever. Everybody you passed in the hall, you kind of looked at them and like, when are you up on stage? What set are you playing? Like everybody was dressed like that walking around the Gwinnett Center. I was just like, oh my goodness. Everybody wants to be different by being exactly the same.
I just don't even. I don't know what to say. But that's where you get. That's where we get a good of some of our when we start getting into the amps on stage, amps not on stage, going digital, not going digital, in ears, not in ears. That's where some of that stuff comes from. Is that
it's the kind of group where Jason has actually thrown out a serious question and gotten some like legit opinions, and then like 9 trolls. The guys are making inside jokes with each other on your thread. And you're like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to figure out what pickups would you put in a Telly?
Right.
Yeah. Brody's saying the official NAMM dress code in Nashville is jeans, black t-shirt, and Chuck Taylors. Amen. Ouch.
I mean, I can do the jeans and the black t-shirt. I don't know about the Chuck Taylors.
I've got quite a few Chuck Taylors, and I may have worn a pair. I packed to go to Brody's house to go to NAMM, and I might have had 5 or 6 different pairs of shoes in my bag, and several of them were Chuck Taylors.
Jack, PJ has changed his background as many times as you've changed your profile picture since this has started.
True story. I got here an hour before the show and did not scout out a good spot, and I was trying to do it on this. There's this lovely little balcony. And it started to set up, and I moved everything around, and then the wind started whipping. So like 5 minutes before we had to go live, I'm looking to where to set up, and I'm like, well, there's this like open floor plan, and then there's people talking downstairs that started echoing through the house. And then I moved over to the corner and thought, well, this lighting kind of stinks. And then I looked across the room and I'm like, there's a wonderful backdrop that should have been the first choice. So that, and I knew we had to get to 60 minutes. So I mean, we had to have something to talk about. So I figured if I just keep moving.
content.
Yeah. It's not the show about nothing. It's just like, how can we keep people talking?
No, you're totally tripping, Jack. That's what's.
That's right, Jack. I haven't moved. I'm not sure what you're talking about, man. Stay away from the brown acid. Yeah, I really was trying to get some like lovely backdrop here, but they have a barn too. I thought about doing it from the barn, but there's an alpaca out there who I like to call Alpacachino, by the way. And there's a couple pigs. There's goats. Just going to make this like a nature show, but.
So you did say, I heard you tell Steve that, yeah, Steve, I'm just going to say that you're in this with Pat. And so now you know how hard it is for me to get stuff done sometimes. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to throw out there.
Yeah, and I feel bad because sometimes the smallest thing can derail me. When I dedicate time to do something and something goes wrong and I don't get it done, then I move on and then I don't circle back like I should. There was something he and I were just simply exchanging messages, and we proposed a date, and it says, do you want to create a calendar event? And I'm like, no, I don't want to create a calendar event. I want to answer him. And at the moment, I'm like, I couldn't figure out how to answer him without creating a calendar event, and something shiny floated by, and it's been 3 days. So sorry, man.
So would you guys do acoustic reviews in the future past COVID-19? I think the answer to that would be like, say we showed that you weren't here when we did, but I said that those new little PRS Parlor Guitars kind of caught my, because who was the guest? Dave was talking about PRS acoustics, or even the SE acoustics, and I really like I like a parlor guitar. I do. So I was kind of like, so a long story short, if we were to get something like that if we were to buy something like that, we would probably do a review on it because it's a piece of gear. But I'm not sure an acoustic would be something that we would go after just for the review, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, because we've talked about this before, right? Like, we're starting to build some connections and a little bit of a network or whatever, but the most financially palatable thing to review are pedals. They're easy, right? They're easy-ish to get, but you start getting in, or the inexpensive guitars, the Firefly, the Harley Benton, the Tajima, and I dare say all three of those price points are cheaper than any acoustic we're going to put our hands on that's worth anything. So it's kind of a case of, I really am interested. I played several of the PRS SEs, and I'm a little snobby on acoustics too. I've got a couple vintage Martins, so I'm used to that big, boomy, woody sound. But I played several of them I really liked. I mean, I've actually considered getting that for the everyday plug-and-play guitar. I've actually considered that. So I don't know. If we get far down that path and I find something, maybe we do it that way. But what was the price point on that parlor guitar? Did you tell me? Or did you look it up?
I want to say the $500 to $600 range, I think.
Yeah.
Or $500 to $700 range, depending on whether you get electronics in it or not. Ben said if they do a summer Philly guitar show, we should do a meetup. I think that's a great idea. I mean, I've never really done a meetup before, but that's a great idea. Yeah. Definitely probably would go down. Hobo Roadie said he's into parlor size if he does acoustics. Yeah, there's something about him. Like to have him sitting in I mean, I'd like to have at least one guitar upstairs like that. I'm not coming down to like plug in an amp and stuff. And there's something about the parlor guitars. They're really comfortable sitting in we have these two little leather chairs sitting in the front room. They're real comfortable sitting there and playing. So,
well, it's really interesting. The other day, I remember you said, what's a guitar that's kind of haunted you or one you remembered? And you mentioned that Skytop acoustic that you showed the picture of with the two side ports. Mm-hmm. I completely forgot. Completely forgot when we met Fred Tellier from Tellier Acoustics from Canada. He had that parlor size guitar. that was magical. Like I am not a huge Parlor fan because I'm so used to the big 3-piece booming. Oh my goodness, that Parlor guitar of Tellier's was pretty cool. And I've played your Breedlove before. I kind of, you're right, kind of just sitting around and kind of like maybe just playing a little bit, and you can sit in a club style chair. Actually, I'm sitting in a chair that's almost identical to the ones in your house. And if you had a little Parlor guitar, even with my front porch here, I think I could still manage to snuggle up and strum that thing a little bit. But
yeah, I mean, just for a reference, what we're talking about, if you're not real familiar with that, this, like the one I have upstairs is a Breedlove Parlor size guitar. I actually know that's not it, because the one the one I have looks almost exactly like that, except it has a slotted headstock on it. So
yeah, because I think I looked those up before, and I was having trouble finding the slotted headstock like yours.
And I don't. Well, there's a back end view of one with a slotted headstock on it. So, yeah. And then those PRS parlors, because Pat asked and
put you on the spot.
And I can Google things pretty quickly. With pickups, they look like they're $579. Without pickups, $499. So they're really not at a bad price point. The price point's not that far off the Breedlove. So. But yeah, I think the question, the answer to Steven's thing was if one falls our way because we bought one. I've really been looking at Beard Guitars. One of the guys that we play with works for Beard Guitars. Beard Guitars are the second largest guitar distributor in Maryland. If you're not familiar with them, take some time, go look it up, and just check them out. So there's Beard Guitars. They're doing a new line, the Decophonic line, which is just like kind of a standard acoustic, but they are really, what they're known for is their resonator guitars. So they make some really, really, really nice resonator guitars. And they're making guitars.
Good.
Yeah, are you going to talk about what's his name?
Grun, yeah. They did a line for Grun Guitars when I was down in Nashville. One time I'm walking through and I'm like, wait, there's Beard Guitars down here. And I texted our friend. He's like, yeah, we did like a signature, kind of a limited series for them. So if you got George Grun allowing you to use his name.
Right, because it was Grun's anniversary guitar, right? Like their so many year anniversary, they had them make a line. And I don't think that's on their website here.
And I think it's out. Well, it has to be out because I saw one there. But yeah, there was a couple of things that we heard about that we weren't allowed to talk about, but hopefully that wasn't one of them.
Well, I mean, that was that Grun anniversary guitar. It's an electric.
Yeah, like a hollow body-ish, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'll never find it. I mean, but it is. It's like a hollow body electric made by Beard Guitars. So Beard Guitars is a really cool company. We've talked about last summer going down for a visit and maybe doing like a field trip video. So we'd like to get in touch, get in with them. But I mean, that's the kind of thing it would have to be for us to do acoustic. Well, we just turned that question into a whole rabbit hole.
Right.
All right. I used to have a portable pig amp, took 3 9-volt, sounded like a lawnmower underwater.
Jack the Rabbit, pig nose amps. Yeah.
Jack the Rabbit says his Cole Clark. He mentioned a Cole Clark guitar.
Yeah.
That's a damn spot.
Well, Cole Clark, aren't they the ones that split off from Maton? Because they were at NAMM. And they're from Australia. Is that right? Cole Clark's?
I think you're right. They're selling those at Tone Tailors. And Maury
those are guys that split off from Maton guitars that Tommy Emmanuel and Eric Johnson guys play. Really unique tone woods that they're using on those. They sound really cool. It's really interesting. He told me, the guy at the booth, after Steve Warnier was there playing, and I didn't want to touch a guitar until he was way out of eyesight. That guy's a monster player. But we're talking about the tone woods and stuff and how they were built. And he's like, we actually built this acoustic guitar to be amplified. So it doesn't sound bad when you play it acoustically, but he goes, we really designed the bracing, picked the woods and the sizes and all of that because we wanted a guitar that sounded great plugged in. So it was really interesting.
Yeah, I know Dan has been raving about his ever since he bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real light, like all the wood on it's like a real light color. It's a real.
Yeah, it's not spalted maple, but it kind of reminds you of like multicolored, more stripes than the spalted maple, like knot hole looking thing. But yeah, really unique guitars.
Jack says they use Spanish heel, which is an amazing tone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my! Well, we did it, Patrick.
With only 3 venue changes for me. It's amazing.
Steven was saying, I just scrolled back up in the comments because I looked away for a minute, to check out Blue Ridge Guitars. They're very good. I think I've seen those before.
I feel like I have too. I feel like I might have even played one, but I don't remember that much about them, honestly.
Brody said, haters are going to hate, but Ovation still sounds great when it's plugged in.
Yeah, that plastic tone wood back, it sounds better than you would think.
That's great. The plastic tone. Well, it's like carbon fiber now is the thing, right? You can build a guitar with carbon fiber.
Well, it was kind of funny, like, because Martin didn't put electronics in their guitars for a very long time. So it was Ovation kind of first. And then Takamine came along. And then everybody started putting electronics in their things. So Ovation was really a pioneer, both in that bowl vac, and then they went the shallow, and they went the cutaway, and then they had the unique little sound holes. I mean, Ovation did some really cool stuff. And they didn't sound horrible in a room, but you plugged them in back in the day, man. That was the thing. Like, they were one of the first to really make an electric acoustic guitar.
I have to go up to my son's room and get the Takamine and use that as a guitar of the day one day.
Yeah,
that's an interesting guitar. It should have been on the show already, but I'm just lazy.
It's 2 flights. It's 2 flights up from where you are now. So I'll wait if you want to go get it. I can find another place to set up.
So should we unbox?
Yeah, I think you should, because
that's right. We can't not until June 1st.
Oh, I didn't know how adept you were at hitting the end session that you could pull it out right when that happens.
Start to pull it out at the end.
Yeah, of course. Knowing our luck, there'd be just a little tiny bit of a screenshot, and we'll ruin a new relationship we have.
Well, Dave, Dave just said Jason USOB, and I would say this. Dave had me as a teacher during my probably first, second, third year of teaching. So 20, this is my 22nd year of teaching. So this is almost 20 years later that Dave and I are reconnecting. It only took him 3 live streams to call me an SOB again. So we're doing good, Dave.
Well, now there's no threat of the principal's office. He is a free-range chicken now. He can just say and do what he wants.
All right. Orange is a new company out of California. We should check them out. Still cheap. I think I've heard about that.
Okay.
No need to apologize, man. We're the one teasing this pedal.
That's right.
So, building suspense. There is a package. The package came today. It came from zip code 73116.
Yes,
we can't show it till. We can't. I'll give you 2 hints. It came from zip code 73116, and I think our friend, who am I thinking about here? Paul Ewing.
Matt Holbrook? Paul Ewing. Okay.
I mean, Paul Ewing will be excited. Of course, Paul Ewing is excited about every pedal. So, with that, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Don't forget there was a link up above for the for our store. We did post that link for the store. I can post it again because we, as much as we'd like to sell the shirts, we'd also like to get some business for Brighton's Big Frog store. So that 25% discount with the code ZELDA, ZELDA. I think it's capital Z, but you can play around. And with that, I mean, what do we got, Pat?
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard from apparently the set of The Mask, starring Jim Carrey, reminding you no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Peace out from the Gentleman's Farm.
Pedal. Did somebody say pedal?
Yeah, show us that pedal real quick, would you?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
Tim 10 complete.
Yes, that's right.